Welcome back to Speak Your Truth, a poetry book podcast. Whether you're listening on a quiet morning drive, late at night when the world is finally exhaled, or somewhere between the chaos of your day, I'm grateful you chose to spend this time with me today. Over the past episodes, we've explored how poetry can heal, how it can hold us when we feel unsteady, how it can connect us to ourselves and to each other. We've talked about writing through pain, writing through hope, writing through confusion, doubt, growth. And today, we're shifting into something powerful, something practical, something that can quietly transform your whole life. Today, we're talking about creating your own poetic practice. Because here's the truth. Poetry isn't reserved for published authors. It isn't locked behind degrees, book deals, or perfect grammar. Poetry is for the person who notices the way sunlight hits the kitchen floor. For the one who feels something heavy in their chest and doesn't yet have the words for it. For the one who wants to slow down and actually see their life. Poetry is for you. A poetic practice isn't about producing masterpieces. It's about building a rhythm of noticing, listening, of responding to your own experience with honesty. It's about turning daily moments into quiet art. The way your child laughs in the next room, the way your coffee cools while you stare out the window, the way a memory sneaks up at 11:47 p.m. You know, those moments matter. And when you write them down, even in fragments, you're saying, my life is worth witnessing. That's what a poetic practice really is. Not performing, presence. In this episode, we're going to explore what that really looks like, how to start, how to sustain it, and how to make it your own. Even if you think you're not a poet. Because the truth is, if you feel deeply, if you think honestly, if you're willing to notice your life, you already are one. A daily poetic habit is less about producing perfect poems and more about building a relationship with your own inner voice. Let that sink in for a second. It's not about publishing, not about applause, not about getting it right. It's about listening. Most of us move through our days reacting, answering, scrolling, responding to noise. But very rarely do we stop and ask, what am I actually feeling right now? A daily practice creates that pause. It gives your inner voice a chair at the table. Just as we brush our teeth to protect them, just like we stretch our muscles so they don't stiffen, writing a few lines each day exercises the heart and the mind. It strengthens your awareness, it sharpens your emotional honesty, it teaches you how to sit with yourself without flinching. If you don't build a relationship with your own voice, the world will gladly speak for you. We know this. It'll tell you what matters. It'll tell you what success looks like, what you should feel, what you should ignore. A poetic practice pushes back against that. It says, no, I'll figure it out on my own. When you write daily, even just 3 sentences, something subtle, it starts to happen. You start noticing things. The way tension sits in your shoulders before a hard conversation, the way your mood shifts with the weather, the way joy appears in small, almost invisible moments. You start to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. The steam rising from your coffee becomes a metaphor. The traffic light at 6:43 a.m. becomes a lesson in patience. Your exhaustion becomes a truth worth honoring. That awareness changes you. Because once you see your life clearly, you can no longer pretend it's meaningless. A daily practice also builds trust. Trust that your thoughts are worth writing down. Trust that your feelings deserve space. Trust that even on the days when nothing dramatic happens, there is still something to notice. And that trust compounds over time. 1 week becomes 2, 2 weeks becomes a month becomes a rhythm. And suddenly, you're no longer waiting for inspiration. You're meeting it halfway. Consistency does something talent can't do. It creates depth. When you show up daily, you begin to recognize patterns in yourself. Recurring fears, recurring hopes, recurring dreams you've been whispering for years. You can't change what you refuse to see. In poetry, practice daily becomes a mirror. Not a harsh one, not a critical one, but an honest one. Some days your writing will feel clumsy. Some days it'll feel profound. Most days it'll just feel ordinary. But that's not failure. It's training. Training your attention, training your courage, training your ability to stay present in your own life. A daily poetic practice doesn't demand brilliance. It asks for presence. 5 minutes, 10 lines, a single paragraph. That's enough. Over time, you become less afraid of your own thoughts because you've met them on the page. And once something is written, it's no longer chaos. It's language. And language gives you power. We're not talking about becoming a better poet, not talking about becoming a more aware human being, more honest, more grounded, more connected to the quiet truths inside you. And that is a practice worth keeping. You don't need hours of solitude. You don't need a cabin in the mountains. You don't need the perfect leather journal or a candle burning in the background. You need willingness. Start with what you have, not what you wish you had, not what you think real writers have. 5 minutes in the morning before the world wakes, before the notifications, before the emails, before someone else's needs rush in. Just you and a blank space. It doesn't have to be profound. Write how your body feels. Write what you're dreading. Write what you're hopeful about. Even one honest sentence is a victory. Or maybe mornings are chaos for you. Then take a pause during lunch. Sit in the car, sit on a bench, sit at your desk. Capture a single image from your day. The way sunlight hits a building, the way someone's laughter lingered longer than expected, the way exhaustion feels like a weight behind your eyes. Just capture it. No overthinking, no editing. Or maybe your rhythm lives at night, like mine. A quiet moment before bed when the house is finally still. Write one line of gratitude. One line. Not because the day was perfect, but because something, however small, was real. Consistency matters more than length. You can write a single daily stanza, 4 lines, 3 lines, 1. And over time, those lines begin to stack. Day by day, they become a map of your inner seasons. You'll see when winter lived in your chest, when spring returned quietly, when you were restless, when you were grateful, when you were afraid to admit what you wanted. That map becomes sacred. Your rhythm does not have to look like anyone else's. If you miss a day, you're not a failure. If you write messy, you're not behind. If your words feel simple, they're still yours. This practice is not a performance, it's a relationship. Relationships grow through steady presence, not intensity. Don't burn yourself out trying to be inspired. Instead, become available. Available to the moment, available to the truth, available to the quiet thought you usually push aside. Some days you'll write about pain, some days about boredom, some days about joy so small no one else would even pretend to notice it. Write it anyway, because rhythm is built in repetition, and repetition builds identity. You're not just writing poems, you're training yourself to show up 5 minutes, one image, one line. Do it tomorrow, then the next day, then the next. And before you know it, you won't be searching for your rhythm. You'll be living inside it. And when you find that rhythm, your life itself starts to sound like poetry. All right. Before we continue, you know, it's that time. I want to share something with you that I wrote. um, the poem for those small, faithful moments of practice. For those quiet mornings, the 5 minute promises you keep to yourself. This poem's called Ritual of Dawn. Each morning, before the noise and the names, I meet the page. The ink waits, a still pond, ready for the first ripple. I don't ask for brilliance, only presence. One line, a breath, a single flicker of the world caught before it slips away. The house still holds its shadows. The clock ticks without urgency. The sky is undecided, balanced between night and promise. I sit with what is unfinished in me, the worry, the gratitude, the quiet ache I can't name. Yesterday, and I write it down, not to impress, not to escape, but to witness. Each word, a small act of courage. Each sentence, a hand extended toward myself. There are mornings when the lines feel thin, fragile as frost on glass. There are mornings when the ink runs thick with longing. Both are welcome, because the ritual is not about perfection. It's about returning to the page, returning to breathe, returning to the quiet truth waiting beneath the noise. And when the sun lifts, the quiet from the sky, when light spills across the table, and the world begins calling my name again, I close the page, knowing I have listened. That's the heart of a poetic practice. Not grandeur. You don't have to make a spectacle. A ritual. Small, faithful, repeated. You don't need to write a masterpiece. You only need to meet the page. And if you do that often enough, you'll begin to meet. Let's make this simple. Building a poetic practice doesn't require a personality change. It doesn't require discipline like a monk. It requires intention. Small, consistent, honest intention. Here are a few approaches that uh, make this sustainable. Not dramatic, sustainable. Number one, keep a small notebook handy. Keep something within reach, not something precious, not something that makes you nervous to write in. A small notebook, a folded piece of paper, the notes app on your phone. Capture fragments. A smell that reminds you of childhood, a sentence you overheard, a single word that stirs something in you, even if you don't know why. Write it down. Don't wait for clarity. Fragments become poems later. Most people lose good lines because they assume they'll remember them. You won't. You should definitely capture it. Number two, set a timer, a gentle timer. You know, set a timer for 3 minutes, not 30, not an hour, just 3. When the timer starts, you write. No stopping, no deleting, no rereading, just forward movement. If you run out of ideas, write that you've run out of ideas. If your mind is blank, describe the blankness. Movement creates momentum. When the timer ends, stop. You kept the promise. That matters more than how it sounds. Consistency builds identity. Every time you show up, you reinforce this truth. I am someone who listens. Number 3, write without judgment. Write without judgment, not without thought, without judgment. Your inner critic, it'll say some stuff. Let it, and write anyway. Raw words are live words. Editing belongs to a different hour. Your practice time is your honesty, not polish. If you judge every line as you write it, you interpret the flow. Protect it. Reframing the goal. The goal is not perfection, it's presence. Presence with your thoughts, presence with your emotions, presence with your unfolding life. Perfection freezes you. Presence frees you. If you show up imperfectly every day for a month, you'll grow more than someone who waits for inspiration once a year. Start small. Keep it simple. Protect the ritual. The page is not grading you, it's receiving you. And if you keep returning, you will realize you didn't just build a writing habit, you built a relationship with yourself. There's something important we need to talk about. What happens after you write? Your daily poems are first for you, not for social media, not for applause, not for validation. They're strictly for you. This practice is personal before it's public. When writing becomes only about sharing, it becomes performance. And performance can distort honesty. You may choose to share your words. You may post them, read them out loud, send them to somebody, who you think needs to know them or hear them. It can be beautiful, but sharing should feel like extension, not obligation. You don't owe the world your rawness. Some poems are meant to stay in the notebook. Some lines are sacred. Some truths are still forming. There is strength in privacy. Strength in saying, this is mine. Whether you share them or not, the practice itself is the reward. Not the likes, not the comments, not the praise. The reward is that you showed up, you listened, you paid attention. Over time, you'll have a collection, not of perfect poems, but of small truths, pages filled with evidence that you were present in your own life. Proof that you felt deeply, proof that you questioned honestly, proof that you noticed the light, even on ordinary days. Those pages become a record of your becoming, a timeline of your inner weather. You'll see the days you were heavy, the days you were healing, the days you were quietly hopeful. That is priceless. Most people move through life without documenting their transformation. Don't be most people. You'll be someone who paid attention. If you choose to share, share with intention. If you keep your words private, protect them with pride. Either way, you're building something real. A rhythm, a ritual, a relationship with your own voice. And years from now, when you flip through those pages, You won't just see ink, you'll see proof that you were here, fully listening. And that is more than enough. Thank you um, again for stopping by and spending this time um, with Speak Your Truth, a poetry podcast. If you listen all the way through, that does mean something to me. I appreciate you. It means you care about your inner world. It means you're willing to slow down. It means you're choosing presence in a world that rewards distraction, and that matters. Um, you know, I hope your daily words become a quiet ritual, not a burden, not a performance, a ritual, something steady, something grounding, something that reminds you that your life, even in its ordinary moment, is worth noticing. Um, I hope the notebook becomes a lantern, a small light you carry. When it feels heavy, it holds your honesty. When the days feel bright, it holds your gratitude. When the days feel confusing, it holds your questions without judgment. If you ever doubt yourself, flip back a few pages. You'll see growth there. You'll see resilience. You'll see proof that you kept showing up. That is not small. That's powerful. If this episode resonated with you at all, share it with someone who might need permission to begin. Or better yet, start tomorrow morning. 5 minutes, one line, meet the page. But until next time, stay grounded, stay grateful, and always, always speak your truth. I didn't think I was a poet. I thought poets were born with thunder in their lungs and galaxies stitched into their tongues. I thought poetry required mountains or heartbreak or something dramatic enough to justify ink. All I had was 5 minutes and a tired mind, and a page that felt too clean for someone like me. They said build a practice. I heard build a masterpiece, but this episode didn't ask me for brilliance. It asked me to show up. That felt different. It said write one line, one, not a revolution, not a confession that cracks the sky open, just one honest line. So I wrote. I am more tired than I admit. And nothing exploded. The world didn't applaud, the ceiling didn't crack open with revelation, but something shifted. Because for the first time, I wasn't performing my strength. I was documenting my truth. They said consistency matters more than length. That hit me. Because I've always been the type to start strong and disappear quietly. Gym memberships, journals with 3 passionate entries, and then silence. But this felt different. No pressure to be profound, just present. 3 minutes, a timer, no editing, no judging, just forward motion. And I realized I've been judging myself mid-sentence for years. No wonder nothing ever flowed. When they said the page is not greeting you, it is receiving you, I felt that in my chest. Because I had been graded by everything. Work, family, social media, my own expectations. But the page? It just sits there, still, patient. like it's been waiting for me to stop running. They said your poems are first for you. That that part right there scared me. Because if they're for me, then I can't hide behind them. If I share them, it's a choice. If I keep them, I'm scared. And suddenly, this isn't about being seen. It's about seeing myself. I used to think growth was loud. Big announcements, dramatic transformations. But this episode whispered something. Growth is a notebook, filling slowly. Growth is flipping back and seeing who you were without hating them. Growth is proof that you were paying attention. I never thought paying attention could be an act of rebellion. But in a world that sells distraction, 5 quiet minutes feels revolutionary. So now when morning comes before the noise and the names, I meet the page. Not as a poet, as a beginner. With messy thoughts, with uneven lines, with a hand that sometimes hesitates. But I meet it anyway. And maybe that's the real poem. Not the words, the return. Every day. One line, one breath, one small lantern in the dark. And for the first time, I think that might be enough.